University of Hong Kong is an international university which emphasizes the integration of research and teaching. The university promotes diversified, cross-cultural studies through various educational programs. To promote our educational vision, City University of Hong Kong produced a series called Beyond Boundaries, Dialogue with Presidents of World's Leading Educational Institutions. Professor Wei Guo, President of City University of Hong Kong, talks to presidents of universities and principals of high schools around the world, exploring each other's strengths and looking forward to the future direction of educational development. Simon Fraser University is a young and progressive university in Canada. The university, founded in 1965 and named after the explorer Simon Fraser, is a government-funded public comprehensive university. Simon Fraser University currently has 8 faculties. The university has more than 1,000 faculty and staff members, nearly 30,000 undergraduate students, and more than 5,600 graduate students. The university is noted for its world-class research and education in business, human-computer interaction, and computer science. Over a span of more than 50 years, the university has produced 43 Fellows of the Academy of Science of the Royal Society of Canada. Simon Fraser University stresses community engagement and incorporates major issues of community concern and reciprocal relationships into its research and education. Its community engagement projects include construction of local infrastructure, improvement of Aboriginal people's living conditions and education, collaborative cultural programs, environmental protection, and so on. When the Maclean's magazine repeatedly rated Simon Fraser University as Canada's top comprehensive university, it cited an important indicator of its strength: sustainability. In order to do better in this regard, the university has developed a 2020 to 2025 sustainability plan with 16 specific targets, including a 50% reduction in operational greenhouse gas emission, a 50% replacement of fossil energy with renewable energy, and a 10% reduction of greenhouse gas emission from transportation. Today, we are honored to invite Professor Joy Johnson, President and Vice Chancellor of Simon Fraser University, to share with us her experience and vision in managing the university. Professor Wei Guo, President of City University of Hong Kong, is well known for his research on the reliability of electronic systems and nuclear energy. In his early years, he worked at Bell Laboratories in the United States, who held the position of department head and dean of the School of Engineering in an American university, and was conferred academicians in various countries. Professor Wei Kuo has served as the president of City U for more than 10 years. His philosophy of education is summarized in the lyrics of the City U anthem, which he wrote, "Learn and question beyond boundaries." Professor Wei Kuo has also published several books about education. He is particularly concerned about the challenges facing contemporary education around the world.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are pleased to visit Simon Fraser University, and we are going to have a good conversation with its president, Professor Johnson. Simon Fraser University was established in 1965. By our definition, a relatively young university. But the performance of the university has been so great. We don't look at the university's performance simply by looking at the age. Age is not important. The university has been doing so well under the current president. And the university has about 35,000 students. It has been very productive in terms of research, and it is known for most engaged into the community in Vancouver. President Johnson, good to be here.
Thank you so much. I'm just thrilled to be here, that you've been able to visit us at Simon Fraser University, and so looking forward to this conversation today.
Well, likewise. I mean, during the pandemic, I think it's exciting to be here. And this is a very exciting place. I've been very impressed by the performance of the university under your leadership.
Thank you very much.
And also, this is a very productive university that attracts a lot of students from all over the places. I understand the university is known for most community engaged university, and this is very important. In addition to being research oriented and paying a lot of attention to student education, tell us a little bit more about the most community engaged university.
Yeah, so the vision of being an engaged university was established by my predecessor, President Petter. And I think he really saw the potential of a university to contribute to communities, to help solve key issues of communities, to work in partnership, and to provide opportunities for our students as well. So being an engaged university is about working with community. It's also about providing opportunities for our students in learning, like co-op programs and work integrated learning, so that they're learning in the classroom but also in community. And I think what's interesting about Simon Fraser University is that we have 3 campuses in 3 different cities. Vancouver, Burnaby here on the mountain, and then also in Surrey, the fastest growing city in Canada. And so to also be integrated in these cities and contributing to them, I think, is really important. And so that's what being an engaged university is.
In addition, your faculty are also very productive. I understand on the per faculty basis, you are probably the #1 in terms of funding from federal, funding agencies. How did you accomplish that much for such a really young university?
Yeah, so we have done very well in research funding, and prior to becoming president, I was the vice president research, and so had an opportunity to see that growth. And I think there's a few things that have been really helpful for us. One is we developed a strategic research plan that identified areas we really wanted to work in and to provide some particular support for. So one of those areas, for example, was big data, to think about how data analytics can be used in all sorts of areas to, again, solve pressing problems. create services and supports for our faculty so that they could write and submit very competitive grants. We have been very successful with our federal granting agencies, but a lot of our growth in our research funds have also come from partnership with industry. And that's really an interesting area as well, to make sure that we can work with industry partners on their research and development, again, looking at new technologies, thinking about ways that we can apply those technologies to really help our economies grow, but also solve problems, as I've talked about earlier.
Simon Fraser University is known as Canada's most community-engaged university. The university also focuses on sustainable development research, actively cooperating with government and industries to promote the research and development of green economy and sustainable energy.
Well, when you work with industries, are there any particular sections of industries that you have been more engaged with?
Yeah, it's interesting. I would say there's a real cross-section. And one of the areas in British Columbia, and I think we're seeing this globally, is the whole green energy, clean technology sector. And so we have a number of deep relationships with a number of corporations in the area of hydrogen fuel cell technology, for example, where we actually have some of our researchers embedded in their labs and we develop projects together. The other thing that's been interesting in terms of working with industry is that we've also looked for opportunities to open our research facilities for smaller growing industries to come and utilize our facilities because they might not have the R&D capacity in their company. And that's created another intersection of industry and researchers solving problems, learning from one another. So I'm really interested in those ecosystems, and I think that in part is why we have been so successful, is that we've been able to create a dynamic system where people are interacting, seeing the value, and seeing the outputs that make a difference.
Well, speaking of the university management nowadays, we have looked at the financial, impact on the university. As a public university, your tuition fee is quite low, particularly by the American standard. And how you balance your budget, and what's your vision, philosophy about the financial, aspect of a university?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're a public institution, as you said. And so that means we get an operating grant from our province to run the university. But that grant doesn't cover everything. So we also rely on other sources of revenue. Back to your question, my philosophy is that we are a public institution and the government should fund us appropriately. But also it's important for students and their families to also invest in their futures. And so for that reason, I think it is appropriate to ask our students to also contribute to the continuation of the university. But I will also say that fundraising is becoming more and more important, other sources of revenue for the university. And particularly during COVID, there's been some stresses on our university and our budget. And so we have to find a way forward to balance all of this.
Well, the fundraising, philanthropy, they both are part of the American culture. American universities are doing so well, as we all know. So as I travel and talk to the leaders of various universities, people understand that will be part of the tasks that we have to do. But equally important is support from the government. I always say that we should separate the politics from education, but the complete separation is not possible. How's the connection with the government in terms of the financial support? How do they see, do they have any different views to your university?
Yeah, it's interesting. So right now in British Columbia, we have this, our Ministry of Advanced Education oversees the funds that get transferred to universities. And they're just starting what they're calling a funding formula review. So the government is going to look at the provincial government is going to look at how they are transferring funds to the different post-secondary institutions, our colleges, our institutes, and our universities. And I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. I think my sense is, and I deal with the government on a regular basis, I think they understand the stresses and strains that we're experiencing in terms of our budget. But I actually also appreciate the stresses and strains our government is under in terms of trying to deliver on so many things. So we have to come to common understanding, and I think we do have a very supportive government provincially. I also interact with our federal government as well, particularly because federal funds, our research funds come federally. And I think they increasingly, it's interesting, I would say they increasingly are more interested in kind of technological R&D kind of investments that will really benefit society. And I have a deep concern, and I've raised this with the federal government, about investment in basic research as well. That we need, if we're going to have new technologies, we have to invest in basic science as well in order to keep discovery moving forward. So those are critical conversations. I think it is the role of a university president to be involved in government relations, to be talking and advocating for our universities.
Well, I'm sure the government would like university to develop area excellence in some way. Mm-hmm. In this part of the world, are there any specific areas they'd like to look into?
Yeah, it's interesting. Our government's been very clear that there have been 3 areas that they're particularly interested in. So I look at what the government's saying all the time and try to look for areas of alignment. But our provincial government right now, the green economy and clean technology, sustainability is a big priority. And luckily at SFU, it's an area of strength that we have. We have a faculty of environment. We've got a school of that really focuses on sustainable energy engineering. So these are areas of strength for us. So that's one priority. It's interesting, another priority has been equity, diversity, and inclusion, and reconciliation, working with Indigenous people. And again, that's been a priority that I've brought to the university. I think the university as a whole is interested in that, so there's very strong alignment as well. And the third area really is growing the talent that we need today to really meet the needs of a changing economy. And so we're paying attention through the development of new programs, programs like a professional program in big data, in visual analytics, et cetera, that these are demand areas for industry, and we're educating students to go out and get great paying jobs and develop companies and contribute to economy. And I think, so those are areas of alignment, I think, that really work very well for us.
So what do you think the higher education's challenges? What do you think we should do? Well, let me qualify what I said. We always say we need to work with the community. So my own observations over years, universities have more or less been the followers of the community, which is very good. But I also feel that we probably need to be the leaders of the society to direct the community people, to give them a vision. What's next we should do?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think universities need to be a source of inspiration.
Yes, yes.
I do believe that we are growing the leaders of tomorrow. And so if we don't have a sense of where that horizon is, where those challenges and opportunities are, we're not going to serve our students well, or our researchers or academic community. So I love that idea that you're talking about being, creating leaders and being leaders. So I agree. I think it's time for us to lead in this regard. I think we need to think about what we can do in our own universities, but also how we can start to create solutions that really will be able to be implemented so that we will have a more sustainable planet.
I'm sure you're enjoying the conversation with President Johnson of Simon Fraser University. President Johnson is a unique person. her academic background in health science helped her to lead this university. She has very warm personality, and she's a listener. She worked with her faculty and staff, and they work together to develop this university into a further engaged university for the community and for the whole world. We are looking forward to hosting her in Hong Kong very soon. Thank you for attending this session.
In the next episode, we will bring the audience to visit a high school in Taipei with over 100 years of history, the Taipei Municipal Jiangguo High School. The school advocates an atmosphere of learning freedom, having students with outstanding academic performance. The alumni of this high school are also well known in fields widely covering politics, economics, academics, and many more. They all made great contributions to social development.